Hi everyone, today we're going to have a look at measures of central tendency. Let's have a look at an example to revise the word mean. To find the mean, you find the sum of the values divided by the total number of values. We can represent this with a formula where x with a bound top is the mean, that zigzag line there is sum of. So the sum of x means the sum of the values, and then we have n, the number of values. So let's plug in these numbers into the formula. So we have 3, 3, 4, 5, 20 altogether over 5, and the answer is 7. Let's have a look at another word that we need to revise, which is the median. The median, remember the D, is going to help us remember that it's the middle value. So here we have 5 values. The middle value is obviously 4. Now there's 5 values. How do we know that it's the third value? We can use the formula over here, which is n plus 1 over 2. N for the number of values, just like we did before. So 5 plus 1 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. So the third value, which was our answer, 4. So this is another example, but notice that the numbers are exactly the same. However, the middle value here appears to be 3, but that will be incorrect because before we calculate the middle value, we have to put things in ascending order. That is, we have to put them from smallest to largest, not leave them in any order. Next, let's have a look at this example. There's 6 values. Now, according to the formula, 6 plus 1 is 7, divided by 2 is 3.5. Where's the 3.5 number? It doesn't exist. So when you have an even number of values, what you have to do is take the average of the numbers. So you would take 4 plus 5, which is 9, divided by 2, and you get 4.5. So let's do a stem and leaf plot example. Here we have some values. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there are 13 numbers. The middle of 13, we can use the formula to work it out. 13 plus 1 is 14, divided by 2 is 7. So we're looking for the 7th number. Let's look for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 15. The median for this stem and leaf plot is 15. Let's have a look at the word mode. So mode, as the name suggests, is the number that occurs the most. In this case, have a look at the example. The number that occurs the most is 3. So 3 is the mode. Let's have a look at this example. There are 2 3s and 2 5s. So this is called bimodal because there are 2 modes, the 3 and the 5. So you will write 3 and 5 as your answers. Here we have a frequency table with the number of days of students doing homework in a week for maths and the frequency. So you can see from the table that there's one student who does 0 homework, no student that does homework only 1 day, 2 students who do homework over 2 days, 5 over 3 days, 7 students over 4 days, 8 students who do it 5 days, and 1 student doing it 6 days, and 1 student who does it 7 days a week. And the question is asking for us to look for the mean, median, and mode. But before we do that, we have to see how many values we have. And we do that by looking at the frequency and adding them all up. And we're finding the sum of the frequency. And recall that the word sum of is represented by the zigzag symbol, like so. So the sum of the frequency, when you add these values up, 1 plus 2 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8 plus 1 is 25. So you find the sum of the total of the values, it will be like counting 1 0 and then 0 1s and then 2 2s, so 2 plus 2, and then there's 5 3s plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. A quicker way to do that is to multiply each row and then adding it downwards, like so. 0 times 1 is 0, 1 times 0 is 0, 2 times 3 is 4, 5 times 3 is 15, 7 times 4 is 28. We can just multiply them together and then we can add all these values to find the total of the values, which is 100 in this example. Remember, the sum of is represented by that symbol, and we have XF without the times in between. So now that we have the total and the number of values, we can simply find the mean by writing that value over that value. So write the formula down, and then we have 100 over 25 from those two values, which is 4. Next, we look for the median, and we do that by looking at the 25 values, and we use the formula n plus 1 divided by 2. So 25 plus 1 divided by 2 is 26, divided by 2 is 13. So the 13th number. So we look for it in the frequency. So we look 1 plus 2 is 3. Now the third number is in there. Plus 5 is 8. So it goes up to the 8th number. And then plus 7 is 15. So the 13th number is in this row here. So our median is 4. And next we're going to look at the mode, which is the number that occurs the most. And we do so by looking for the biggest frequency, which is 8. So 8 is the biggest frequency, so 5 is our mode. Next, we're going to look at crude data. And recall from previous sessions that these are called class intervals. So 150 to 160 is a class interval. The next row is a class interval, so a group. So instead of looking for the mode, because there's no one number, we're looking for modal class. So, and instead of looking for a median, we're going to be looking for a median class interval because there's no longer one value. For the mean, we can calculate that by looking at the middle of these class intervals, and we call that x middle. And the middle of 150 and 160 is calculated by adding 150 plus 160 divided by 2, which gives us 155. To find the next class interval, 160 plus 170 divided by 2 is 165. And so forth. 170 plus 180 divided by 2, 175. And the next one, 180 plus 190 divided by 2, 185. Now that we have a value for each of the class intervals, we can multiply this middle by the frequency. And we're represented by x middle, or value middle, times frequency. So now we can multiply these together, and you might want to use a calculator for these. Next, we do what we did with the other example. We find how many numbers there are by adding the frequency. Remember, sum of has that zigzag symbol. And then the total, which is adding all these values in this column here. 3,270 is our total. You might want to try it and check the answers. And then to find the mean, we're going to write the formula like before, but this time we have x middle instead of just x. And then we take 3,270 over the 20. And we get 163.5. And to find the median class interval, we have to look for the middle number. So there's 20 values. Use the formula before, 20 plus 1 divided by 2. So 21 over 2 is 10.5. So now we need to look for our 10th and 11th number. We look at the frequency row and we see that there's 7 numbers in this class interval. And then there are 10 values here. Therefore, 7 plus 10, our 17th number is in this slot. And our 10th and our 11th number is also in this slot. So the median class interval is 160 to 170. Or more accurately, 160 to less than 170. And lastly, for the modal class, we look for the one with the highest frequency, and it just happens to be the same class interval in this example. So that's 10. So the answer will be the same, 160 to less than 170. That's it for me today. See you next time.